All right, good morning, guys. Golden Age of Pericles time, right? This happens after the Persian War. Why is it called the Golden Age of Pericles or the Golden Age of Athens? It's called that because this is a time when Athens truly flourishes after the Persian Wars, after it's in ruins, and Pericles starts a rebuilding project within Athens to build back Athens back up to the glorious city that it is. Here are a couple quotes that it said that Pericles has said. Just because you do not take an interest in politics doesn't mean politics won't take an interest in you. And so this is a topic that's kind of relative even for us today, right? Even if you don't vote, um, the vote that is cast by others will affect your life. So that's what this means there. Just because you don't take an interest in politics does not mean that politics will not take an interest in you. And then Thucydides said this in regards to Pericles: future ages will wonder at us as the present age wonders at us now. Because in Athens you have a direct democracy, which is something that the world had never seen before. You have citizens, males, of course, free adult males that are over the age of 18 that are directly participating in government and having a say about their society. So this is a big deal. So again, Pericles is the democratic leader in Athens. He extended democracy to where most adult males had a say, and Pericles had Athens rebuilt. I have a little reading I want to share with you on the golden age of Pericles, or the golden age of Athens. So it says Pericles expanded the responsibilities and involvement or participation of Athenians in their government by creating a direct democracy. In this system, every male citizen participated directly in government decision making through mass meetings. In Athens, every male citizen participated in the governing assembly and voted on all major issues. Most residents of Athens were not citizens. In the mid 5th century, the assembly consisted of 43,000 male citizens over the age of 18 years old. The assembly met on a hillside east of the Acropolis every 10 days, but not all members attended. The number of men present rarely reached 6,000. That's a really low number considering you have 43,000 men that are citizens. The assembly passed laws, elected public officials, and made decisions about war and foreign policy. Anyone could speak, but usually only respected leaders did so. Pericles made it possible for poor citizens to take part in public affairs. He did this by making lower class male citizens qualified for public office by paying office holders. Pericles believed that all Athenian citizens were equal before the law and that they should be proud of their democracy. A large body of city officials ran the government on a daily basis. 10 officials or generals directed policy. The generals could be reelected, and this allowed individual leaders to play an important political role. All right. Athens also created a practice called ostracism. Have you ever heard of this, where you ostracize someone within your social group, meaning they're not allowed to come back in, right? This was to protect against political ambition. Okay, members of the assembly could write the name of a person they considered harmful on a piece of pottery or an ostracon, okay, hence ostracism. And a person named by a majority of at least 6,000 members was banned from the city for 10 years. Okay, let me go check on that screaming by my kids. I'm going to pause this. I'll be right back. All right, sorry about that. Okay, so Pericles also stated our form of government does not enter into the rivalry with the institution of others. Our government does not copy our neighbors, but is an example to them. It is true that we are called a democracy, for administration is in the hands of many and not the few. But while there exists equal justice to all and alike in their private disputes, the claim of excellence is also recognized. And when a citizen is in any way distinguished, he is preferred to the public service, not as a matter of privilege, but as a reward of merit. So, what can we tell from this quote? Well, one, Pericles values democracy. Our form of government does not enter into the rivalry. It's an example to our neighbors. That's a big thing. All right. Citizens participate in government are valuable to Pericles. They're valuable aspects of society, according to Pericles. And they had public servants based on their merit or their qualifications. It didn't matter if they were poor. They could be poor and still participate in government or still hold public office. Again, because he paid public officials so that their job could be to work for the people. Also, you didn't have to have much qualifications to participate in government in the sense that you participated in public debate. You weighed the pros and cons of arguments that were taking place. Also, you served on a jury. Fun fact about Athenian juries, they didn't want anybody to be able to pay off jury members in order to get the verdict that they wanted. So what they would do is they would have juries of up to 500 members. Not one person can pay off 500 people. It'd be very hard. Okay. So, also, Pericles rebuilt Athens. Okay, he rebuilt Athens after the Persian Wars because remember the Persians come in and they demolish and they burn down the city. So he had the Parthenon constructed, and here is a picture of the Parthenon today. And this was a temple for the guardian deity of Athens, Athena, all right, as part of the reconstruction process. All right, what do the Greeks give us? Well, of course, Greek drama, our comedies and our tragedies, we can thank the Greeks. Aeschylus, a Greek playwright who wrote tragedies, he wrote over 90 tragedies, of which only 7 survived. Only one trilogy survived, Oresteia and Prometheus Bound. These are famous works by Aeschylus. Sophocles' most famous play is Oedipus the King. In the play, Apollo, the god, prophesied that Oedipus would kill his own father and marry his own mother. Even though they tried to prevent this from happening, it still does. Oedipus accepts his fate by the gods and accepted that his actions brought him to that outcome and that you can't outrun your fate. Antigone is another famous play written by Sophocles, and if we have time in class, we will go through that play. Super fun. Homer, we will definitely be reading this at some point within the semester. The Odyssey is what we will take a gander at. But Homer wrote the epic poems of the Iliad and the Odyssey. Both are about the Trojan Wars. All right. The Odyssey is more focused on Odysseus's journey or quest back home after the Trojan Wars. They were based on stories that had been passed down from generation to generation. These texts were used for education for young men in Greece for hundreds of years because they outline the fundamental values of Greek society, including honor, courage, and mortality. Or morality, not mortality, not death. Even though death did definitely happen in both of those epic poems. My bad about that, guys. All right. History, right? If you watch the video by John Green, he talked about Herodotus and how Herodotus wrote the histories about the Persian Wars, and it kind of introduces you to historical bias. Herodotus was from Greece, so of course he is going to paint Greece in a good light, and he is going to not be so favorable to the Persians. They're going to be, the wicked, the bad people, but in all actuality, we know that the Persians were not that bad. They did not accept slavery within their society. They practiced Zoroastrianism, so people tried to be their best selves, tried to be good, tried to be tolerant towards others, tried to be compassionate based off of their religion. But, of According to Herodotus, they are the worst thing ever. Um, so, just keep that in mind when you read a text or um, when Victors always write history, right? So just pay attention to that and kind of note that when you're reading something. Is this text biased? Is it for or against the person I'm reading about? Just take note of that and see if you see it in your everyday life. Thucydides was a Greek historian that wrote about the Peloponnesian Wars. So he was a Greek writing about the fight between Athens and Sparta. And I know we haven't got to that yet, so let me shush. All right, but Thucydides wrote the history of the Peloponnesian Wars, okay? Phidias, our Greek sculptor, he sculpted deities located in the Parthenon. Remember, the Parthenon is that temple that's located on the Acropolis in Athens, Greece. There are 3 types of columns that we get from Greek architecture. Remember, the temple is the main architectural structure within Greece. All right, but we get 3 main types of columns from the Greeks. The Doric column, they're very simple. And then Ionian or Ionic, the scroll-like. See the scrolls up here at the top? And then you get the Corinthian, the fancy one, or the very elaborate one. I always think that one's so ugly. But extra credit opportunity right here, right now. If you go around Danville or Chatham or Ringgold, wherever you might be, you see a column, take a picture of it, send it to me in my email, and tell me how this is a contribution from the Greeks. It's still used in architecture today. That's how. Okay? So extra credit opportunity there for you. All right, Archimedes. Here we're getting to science. All right, Archimedes established the mathematical constant of pi. He created a pulley system and a lever system. His famous quote is, "Give me a lever and a place to stand on, and I will move the earth." All right, so Archimedes is our scientist. Hippocrates, I always say Hippocrates, that's what his name looks like, Hippocrates of medicine, right? He actually didn't believe, he didn't believe in medicine, but he is the father and founder of medicine and best practices. Natural explanations for diseases, like curing things with spinal manipulation. He was very much into natural remedies for diseases, like improving your diet if you're feeling really crappy and you don't really have much energy. Well, let's see what you're eating and let's see how we can mold that and shape that to help you feel better. If your legs are always hurting or your neck's always hurting, how is spinal manipulation going to help you? So, a famous quote by Hippocrates is, "Our food should be our medicine, and our medicine should be our food." So he was very in tune with, your diet and how your exercise and what you put into your body is going to be the result of what comes out of your body. So also the Hippocratic oath that doctors take and doing what is best for the patient, that comes from Hippocrates, okay? Euclid is our father of geometry. Super fun, right? Pythagoras developed, of course, the Pythagorean theorem, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And this is for finding the sides of a right triangle, like your opposite, your adjacent, your hypotenuse. Ooh, didn't know I knew that, did you? I didn't know I did either. All right. Socrates, the father of philosophy. Socrates' famous quote, "I cannot teach anybody anything. I can only make them think." Socrates is famous for what we call today the Socratic method of getting people to question and answer, and basing questions off of their answers, provoking deep thought. Okay, he also says the only true wisdom is to know that you know nothing. All right, so in this, what he is saying is you can always grow. You can always learn more about is around you, you can always learn more about what is within you. And you're never done with examining your life. You're never done with examining anything in life. All right. So again, he came up with a Socratic method for questioning to lead pupils to see for themselves using their own reasoning. He was a tutor to Plato, and his questioning of authority of it, um, and public demonstrations of others' lack of knowledge got him into trouble. Okay. He was put on trial and found guilty of corrupting the young minds of Athens, and he was sentenced to death. All right. If we have time, we're going to read Apology. And that's Plato's writing of Socrates' defense of himself. All right. Sorry about that again. So he was found guilty for corrupting the young minds of Athens. What he did is people would gather around him, and he would say, "I'm the wisest man alive, for I know one thing, and that is I know nothing." And people would try to come up and say that they were smarter than him and that they knew more than him, and he was like, "Look, you're just proving yourself to be an idiot." And so he did that to like respected leaders within Athens. And so that's why he was put on trial. And then he was sentenced to death by taking poison and killing himself at like 70. So, yeah, that sucks. Plato was the student of Socrates, and everything that we know about Socrates comes from Plato's writings. One of his most famous works is The Republic, which set out his ideas about government. In this, he created an ideal society divided into 3 groups in which each fulfilled their assigned role. And here are some quotes from Plato. Those who are too smart to engage in politics are punished by being governed by those who are dumber. So that's a funny one. And then wise men speak because they have something to say. Fools speak because they have something to say. All right. So take that one how you want to. All right. It is the mark of an educated mind to be able to entertain a thought without accepting it. And isn't that such a good quote for the world today? The mark of an educated mind is to be able to entertain a thought without accepting it. All right. Meaning that other people can have different opinions than you, and you can be receptive to their ideals and their beliefs, but you don't have to accept them. You can be receptive to them, not get hostile, but you can accept that you have differences, right? So Aristotle was the pupil of Plato, and he tutored Alexander the Great. Philip II of Macedon is going to love Greece so much that he is going to ask Aristotle to come up and tutor his young son. He was very interested in a variety of subjects and wrote treatises on a number of subjects. And Aristotle believed that there are 3 good forms of government: monarchy, aristocracy, and a constitutional government. You can see democracy. It's not in there. All right. Now, the Peloponnesian War. We're going to get to that tomorrow. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to do the matching assignment for this, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.